I think my problem was I was a very cute kid, and then I wasn't. It changed. My face changed.
Yeah.
My head got huge, and my body stayed the same size, and my nose got massive, and my neck got really long. I was so cute. Shopkeepers would be like, I'm gonna kidnap you and keep you in my secret basement. So my life was terrifying because of how cute I was. And then it kind of snuck up on, like, I was like, you know what, nobody's threatened to kidnap me in a while. What's going on? And then I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh no.
This is Visitations
with Elijah Wood
and Daniel Noah.
Welcome to part 2 of our visit with Emily Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani.
If you missed our conversation with Emily, be sure to jump over and check it out. Kumail Nanjiani spent his early childhood in Pakistan, growing up in a close-knit Muslim family before immigrating to the United States in 1996. There, he earned a double major in computer science and philosophy at Grinnell College in Iowa.
After achieving stardom with The Big Sick, Kumail went on to redefine what it means to be a leading man in Hollywood. He brings a courageous and rarefied vulnerability to his life and work. And as you'll hear in this episode, it's the support of not one, but 2 important women that Kumail credits as the source of this courage. He is now a beloved actor, writer, and performer who's become a stalwart of popular culture, and who, like my partner, is one of the nicest people in Hollywood.
Daniel.
Elijah. And remember, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen so you never miss an episode.
This is Visitations
with Elijah Wood
and Daniel Noah. And now, Kumail Nanjiani.
I have this theory that there's obviously exceptions to this, but most artists whose work you love, the persona that vibrates through that work is very close to who they are.
I think you're
Yes. Both ways. It goes both ways.
Yes.
I also, people are always like, don't meet your heroes. I like meeting my heroes because I want to see how their personality intersects with their art. I want to see how it informs it.
Yeah.
Right. How does your personality intersect with your art?
What a segue. I feel like I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you see me on stage or whatever, I'm pretty close to what I am.
Describe it.
Really?
Sure.
Oh my God, that's hard. I mean, if I'm on stage, that is like a projection of me. It's a version of me. It's not all of me, but I have been trying to really have it be as much of me as I can, which to me means I talk a lot about stuff I'm scared of. I talk about stuff that makes me sad, and I talk about therapy because it's like been such an important thing for me these last few years. So I try and go towards really the stuff that is inside, at least as much as I can see it, and try to talk about it in a way that's funny.
That's great.
I found when I was doing stand-up over 10 years ago, who I was on stage was a lot more confident than the person I really am.
Huh.
Oh, that's interesting. But that makes sense, too.
Yeah, I think I was scared of being not confident on stage.
Sure.
Wait, so
and a big part of being a comedian, a stand-up, is to exude a degree of confidence, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's part of the act, I guess.
It is, but I think there's a way to exude comfort while not necessarily projecting confidence.
Got it.
I think you have to be in control of the stage. I think that's the most important thing.
Right.
If someone's watching, I've been in crowds watching a comedian, I've certainly been that comedian where you feel like unsafe in the sense that you don't know that what the person's going through on stage. You just don't feel they really have a handle on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that can be very uncomfortable for everyone.
Yes.
But even if you're being completely naked and vulnerable on stage, and you can exude that, like, it's okay. I'm going to take care of us. We're going to go to this kind of sad, dark place, but you're
fine.
You're fine. Come with me. You'll be fine. I do this kind of a long bit about. I was like, it became sort of important to me to talk about stuff that I was really feeling intensely. And so my cat, who you just met, Bagel, she's about to be 16, and last year, and she's my first pet, and the degree that I love her is, it's shocking. I don't have children, so I don't know what that love is. I'm sure that's a whole other thing. I just know that the way I love this little creature is very, very intense and deep. And last year she started having health issues, and it hit me so hard because I also had my 45th birthday, and so these sort of two things happened at the same time, and it really like kind of knocked me sideways. And I was like, I want to talk about this on stage. So I talk about it on stage. I have like a 10-minute long story of her health issues, and I prep people in the beginning. I say, this is going to be a little emotionally vulnerable, and at times it may be difficult for me, but I swear it's going to be okay. We'll get through it.
That's great.
And it's been lovely to see how hard people connect to it, because we all know, you know, most people have lost a pet, and that sort of loss it's a real loss, you know?
Yeah.
Is there a joke?
Yeah, I make it funny the whole time.
Yeah, got it.
I mean, for me, the challenge is always to talk about all this stuff, but be funny the entire time.
Sure.
Because that keeps.
Got it.
I also think, like, you know, when we write scripts or make movies, I think comedy and emotion really feed into each other. Because if you make someone laugh, then they're completely open, and you can take them to a more emotional place. The walls are down. And the other way, if you're like really emotional, you can make someone laugh because that's a surprise. Honestly, when I first started talking about Bagel on stage, the degree of connection that I felt was shocking to me.
Yeah.
And the degree of, I think the tricky thing is, they can never feel pity for a comedian on stage, because I think that kind of kills it.
Right.
But they really, you could tell they really felt for me and what I was going through. And then I also, the other time I feel, and this is not emotionally vulnerable, it's a lot more of an intellectual bit, but I talk about night thoughts, you know? Like 4 a.m. when you're laying in bed and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have sent that email. You know, those things?
Yes.
So I do a bit, yes.
I think everybody can relate to that.
Yeah. So I just started talking about that on stage, and it's amazing how quickly people key in. When I go like, I have night thoughts. Do you guys have night thoughts? And people suddenly are like, whoa, I thought I was the only one.
That's amazing.
And so it's interesting. The more I try and go to, and I still have a long way to go, it's an attempt. The more I try and really go to like, these are things that scare me, make me sad, the kind of more connected I feel the audience is to me. And I think that's what I want to do.
Does that relate directly or indirectly to the therapy that you have said you're going through?
Yeah.
Therapy is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Was it the first time that you've ever been to a therapist?
I started seeing a therapist in COVID. I'll ask Emily if this is okay to say, but I'll say it. We also saw like a couples counselor. Cool. We don't anymore, but you know, we did for a little bit, and that has been such an utter game changer.
Awesome.
And just being aware of like, you know, the patterns. When you're sort of living it, you don't realize, you don't really see the connections.
Sure.
Yeah.
What connections did you see?
Well, for Emily and I, one of the big things is, you know, the seismic sort of event in our relationship early on is when she got sick. Yeah. And she's okay now, but she still has that condition. But we realized that sort of the dynamic that was established from that is something that has informed us. Our relationship to this day is 17 years later.
Wow.
Over and over, we didn't realize we're sort of reliving that same pattern over and over.
What is it?
Me feeling like I sort of need to protect her, and that leads to some control, that leads to some lack of trust, not in a sort of just like the feeling that I'm sort of responsible for her in some ways. And that extends well past health stuff. It just sort of became part of everything. And then she getting upset that she doesn't trust, that I don't trust her to take care of herself. It just was sort of weaving its tentacles through everything. So once we sort of started talking about that and understanding what that was, it really helped. The other thing that really helped, she made us do this exercise, was every day you have to say 3 things to each other that you've never said to each other that you're scared to say to the other person.
Jeez.
Jesus.
Every day, 3 things. And she was like, it doesn't have to be big.
Do you run out of things?
Well, some days you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, you know?
I don't like those
You're like,
shoes.
yeah, I think I like Basque Cheesecake now. I didn't like that there was no base, but now I enjoy there's no base. So you're sort of...
Love me some Basque cheesecake.
Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah, in the beginning I was like, well, where's the crust? But sometimes you don't need a crust. And she'll be like, that doesn't count as one. The other thing was, and what that taught us to do was really, really show ourselves to each other as much like in our completeness, like really be completely open and communicate who you are as best you can to the other person. And it made us so much closer, and it helped our relationship tremendously. It also just helped me and my anxiety, because I've always felt if I say those things out loud, they become real. Like if I'm about to start a job, you know, I don't know if you have this. I have this thing. I'm scared. I don't know this character. These other people are too talented. I don't know how I'm going to do. I can't hang.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And do you ever feel like, sometimes I feel like I'll get there, first day, they'll realize they made a mistake. I'll be fired.
Yeah.
Oh, I still to this day have that.
Yeah, I do too. 100% I have that. But I used to just keep that inside. And now I will say to Emily, like, hey, I'm kind of like intimidated by this job. I'm intimidated to work with this person. And instead of it making it real, it does the opposite. It takes its power away. I'm not even looking for Emily to make me feel better or say anything. I just want to be like, hey, just so you know, because sometimes that stuff is inside of me and it's coming out in ways that are unfair to her. I'm not present. I have a shorter temper, you know, all that kind of stuff. So now when I feel like I have done a good job of that. And it's just made me so much calmer. It's made us so much closer. And I think it's made me better at my work, just acknowledging those fears and imposter syndrome. I mean, it's amazing that you have it too.
Sure.
I think at some point I sort of set a certain kind of bar for myself with my parents and my family. I was like the golden child of the family, like not just to my parents, like extended family. I was the most religious. I got the best grades. I never got in trouble. And, I was the one who actually loved going to Sunday school, and I prayed 5 times a day, all that stuff. And so I think I set up these things where I can never disappoint anybody.
You created, untenable standards for which to exist in the world.
Yes.
And I was doing something similar, I think for slightly different reasons, but that was also what my therapy was about too, was that I was building up this scaffold around me of this person that I wasn't, and that somehow there were expectations put upon me that were self-inflicted.
That you completely did to yourself.
I did to myself.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it was just like, who said you needed to achieve that? Would be questions that she would ask, and I'd go, me? It's not coming from it's coming from me.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. But I would not have been able to articulate that it's coming from me. I'd be like, I don't want to disappoint my entire family. They're like counting on me to get an A. Like they honestly, why do they care? But and truly to me, enjoying my life was not really part of the equation. I mean, I've watched a lot of movies, I played a lot of video games, but it wasn't like, oh, I have to find a balance or anything. It was just like, I have to get good grades, and I have to like be religious, and my parents have to think I'm great. I had this thing where, I was dating Emily for like a few months, and I was like, I'm really laid back. And she's like, what? She's like, you're not laid back. You're incredibly anxious. And I was like, oh, right, that's what that is. That's what that voice in my head. That makes so much sense. There's a great episode of The X-Files called Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose with Peter Boyle.
Oh, awesome.
And there's a guy who's a serial killer in it, and it's a fucking great episode. But he's like going to psychic because he's trying to figure out, like, why am I doing these things? Like, who's controlling me to do it? And then eventually Peter Boyle's character, who's also a psychic, tells him, you're doing this because you're a homicidal maniac. And he's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. That's how I felt when Emily told me, you're very anxious. I was like, oh, wow, that's what that is.
Wow.
Makes so much sense.
Wow.
Guilt is like my engine.
Interesting.
And I think that's why, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just every kind of guilt. You're like, I'm not working enough. My life now is very math. Like the way I approach work is very there's equations, and I think that all comes from religion.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that the guilt of like not letting other people down and stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to. In therapy, I'm realizing slowly just how much of what I am is because of how I was raised religiously.
That's interesting.
Good and bad.
Yeah, perhaps that would be similar for me too.
Because
it never got there in terms of it's the genesis or looking for the kind of the seed of where that started for me. But
you
possible.
you believe religion, and that was one of the lenses through which you viewed the world.
I did. Yes. Yeah.
I think like patterns form, like there's neural pathways, and even if the specifics are gone, those like irrigation canals are still there, and whatever you have in there is sort of following the same patterns, even if it's filled with different stuff.
It's funny because I never thought about this before, but I would describe both of your personas as actors as being the character, the guy in the constellation who is worrying about everyone.
That's funny.
I mean, I definitely am.
Yeah.
I've been in some of my characters more truthful than I've been in my life.
Right.
Yeah. So I grew up in Karachi, Pakistan, which is like, 20 million people. It's like packed.
Yeah.
Very busy city, loud,
Wow.
polluted. And I think back, I had a great family life. I have a great extended family. They were all like very, it's a very big, close family. Every Friday, like my dad and his sisters and their families, we would all go out to dinner together. So I feel
That's awesome.
I had a lovely, wonderful family. I was talking to my cousin recently, and we grew up like, kind of like best friends. He's like a few months older than me, and we still talk all the time. And we were talking about how we were like, we grew up in like a very violent part of the world. And I do feel, I feel a little conflicted talking about this stuff because I don't want to further any stereotypes of Pakistan.
Sure.
Like, it's, and I remember I would see stuff on CNN. One time there was like a lot of like fighting happening. And on CNN, they had a graphic for it. It said, City of Terror. And it was like with like City of Terror made up of buildings with like some of the buildings are on fire made up. And I was
Christ.
like, oh, I lived there. It's not like that. But there was a lot of violence around. I saw a guy get shot in the head and die. We both knew multiple people who got murdered. We knew people who got kidnapped. The threat of that violence was very, very, very present.
Wow.
We read news stories that were very violent. We saw images that were very violent. We got stuck in the middle of like a violent riot once, I remember.
Oh.
It's a violent, high crime place. But I didn't really feel that. Now when I think back on it, like my cousin was saying, yeah, my best friend died and nobody asked me how you're doing because it just wasn't, you just sort of like move on to the next day. That's kind of how we did it. And so I do wonder how that much like danger being normalized because it didn't feel like danger. I mean, it's hard
At the time. No, I get it.
It's hard to explain because it's just life and that's just the world we were in. And it didn't really, at that moment, didn't feel like it was fucking us up. I'm sure it had some effect though. It has to. And I wonder how that informed both of us as adults. I think I have like a low-level eating disorder because the food I grew up with was so good. I think it like...
I mean, that region is amazing for
it's
food.
so good that every morning I'd wake up and be like, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat this. What are we eating today? And I'm still like that. And Emily has Emily has willpower because she, not to be shitty, but she grew up in North Carolina. Their food isn't,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like casseroles. Nobody's ever gotten excited about a casserole. And our food is so good. Like, so that was it too. A lot of good food, you know, and just watching a lot of movies with my dad. That was a big part of it. We watched.
amazing.
And my cousin was just saying, remember your TV room? There was just pillows on the floor, and people would come. And I watched a movie every day for most of my life until I came to the U.S.
Wow.
Every single day I watched a movie. Yeah.
That is so great.
Yeah.
What is your low-level eating disorder?
I always have had, since I can remember, a lot of guilt associated with food, coupled with a lack of willpower. So, for instance, like my food, right? I can't control it. Emily says you get swirly. She says literally, I'll sort of lock into a mode. And I don't, you know, I'm not diagnosed with an eating disorder. People who have that's a real problem. And I'm not saying I have that. I will say I have an unhealthy relationship with food. I'll say that. I don't want to say it's an eating disorder.
Sure. I get it.
But I was sort of going to this mode, and she's like, your eyes go away. She's like, I could tell you're not here anymore. And we call it going wood chipper. Like I'm just like shoving things in my mouth. And it happens with, you know, when I'm emotional. But I've always had a very guilt-ridden relationship with food. I remember when I was like 13 or 14, we just got a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Pakistan. In Karachi, it was the first. And I went and I ate this fried chicken and I fucking loved it. And I remember, I was like 13 coming home and feeling like awful at what I'd done. Like a very
Where did
profound
that come from?
and deep guilt. I mean, I think that guilt, you know, that I was sort of raised with in terms of don't do anything bad, that's like bad for your soul. I think that sort of spread into every aspect of my life.
Got it.
Because it's also, you know, the big thing with Islam, at least the way I was raised with it, was very much, it was like soul versus body. So the soul is pure and good, which is in some ways intellect and sort of love of God. And what the body wants is all bad. So like, you know, lust is bad. Food, like that was the
alcohol.
Alcohol is bad. That was like the duality completely. And so for me, I really understood that as a little kid. Even music, you know, listening to music was not allowed.
Right, wow.
So as a little kid, I remember being like, oh, everything that I actually want to do is evil. And I think that fucked me up, and it still fucks me up to this day.
What is your relationship to your body now?
You know, it's so interesting because growing up, I think my problem was I was a very cute kid. And then I wasn't. It changed.
What changed? Did you get chubby?
My eye changed. My face changed.
Yeah.
My head got huge, and my body stayed the same size, and my nose got massive, and my neck got really long, and it was like such a whiplash. Like I've talked about this before. I was so cute, and shopkeepers would be like, "I'm gonna kidnap you and keep you in my secret basement." Jesus. So my life was terrifying because of how cute I was.
Jesus.
You were a very cute kid.
Thank you.
I was very, very cute. And I knew that. And people would say it to me all the time. And then it kind of snuck up on. Like, I was like, you know what? Nobody's threatened to kidnap me in a while. What's going on? And then I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh no. And then I felt hideous. And I felt so hideous that I couldn't go to a shop to buy something because I was like, they're not going to sell it to me because I'm so ugly.
Oh, dude.
And it was horrible. And it took me...
How old were you?
Yeah, I was just going to say how old.
From the age of like 10 to that kind of like crippling, it was two things. It was a real thinking I'm super ugly and having looks be very important to me. So it was both those things were sort of together where I was sort of like very envious of good looking people. And I kind of loved and hated them. And I was very aware of it. I was very aware of like looks and aesthetics and all that. And I very much knew I wasn't part of it. So I felt really hideous. And it was something that sort of was, until my 20s, I had to sort of start working on it to be like, you look how you look, and it doesn't matter what you think. What you have to do is have it be less important, have it matter less to you. And that stuff worked, you know, through my 30s. It all worked. Like it helped me to sort of be like, it doesn't matter. That's not what, that's not what your work is. You have a wife that really loves you, all that. And then when I did the Marvel movie and I sort of got in shape, all that stuff came back. All that stuff of being important, how I look, and
dormant.
Yeah, power over me. I felt like I backtracked like 15 years in 6 months.
Wow.
What was it about? So they asked you to pump
They
up?
really didn't. I sort of decided to do it myself. They were very much like, we hired you for a reason. So I was like, I'm going to get in shape. They're like, you can, but you don't. We just don't do anything stupid.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I felt the pressure of being the first brown superhero.
Sure.
And I didn't want to be like the first brown superhero and also like the first not buff superhero. I mean, there is a lot of pressure when you get a job like that.
Dude. Yeah.
And some people do a good job of not taking that pressure on. I didn't. And I also wanted to do it. Like, since I was a kid, I've been very envious of like, we all grew up watching Stallone and Arnold movies and stuff. And even He-Man. I feel like He-Man was like a bigger...
Lundgren? Was he?
Well, yes, it was Dolph Lundgren, but I mean the action figures. I have some here.
Yeah.
The cartoon. He's like cartoonishly buff.
Yeah, and the cartoon was huge for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's huge.
Yep.
And I think that He-Man did more to like fuck up my body image more than any other real human being. And so when I got the opportunity to do it, and I'd sort of for a while been like, I really want to see if I could do it. I want to see if I can do it. And I was like, oh, this is an excuse. Now I'm going to do it. I think the last year and a half, it's been way better in all these different aspects. I sort of have to like accept who I am and how I look and all of that stuff. And I've gotten better at it. And even with food, I had to learn to be like, I just love food too much. I love the whole thing of it. I love the...
Fucking love it.
I love the culture of it. My favorite thing in the world is to go out with Emily for a 4-hour meal or go out with like a couple other people.
Yes.
Go have a huge, massive meal. It's my favorite thing to do in the entire world.
I agree. It's mine as well.
So I don't want to take that away from me. It just brings me too much joy.
Yes.
But it's the other side of it that I have
But wait,
to...
I gotta
Yes.
ask you something I can't reconcile. So you've said a bunch of times, I have to accept who I am and how I look. But you've body sculpted.
Yes.
So you've changed the way you look.
Yes.
I don't know how to reconcile those two ideas.
Well, that's a good question. By that I mean when I was really, 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 in the middle of it, I would look in the mirror and not like what I saw.
In the middle of getting in shape?
When I was like, I would say at the peak of my physical condition,
You didn't like that.
I didn't like that. I didn't think it was good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Kumail.
I know.
Wow.
I remember Richard Madden, I did that movie with him, and he pulled me aside once and he was like, I see what's going on. And he was like, someday you'll look back at this and not believe that you thought this wasn't good enough. And he's totally right.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, I still work out a lot because there is a lot of good that comes from me working out.
Sure.
I could talk about that. Like what I think, like pushing yourself physically that much, the good that comes from it is very tangible. So that's why I do it now because one, I don't want to give the satisfaction to all the people who are like, look, see, he's back to how he was. I don't want to give people that, but also just love doing it too much.
It's also
I love the doing of it.
It's also good for you.
It is.
It's good for you mentally, emotionally,
It really is.
physically. I mean, you talk about anxiety.
Yes.
Anxiety is definitely quelled by physically exerting yourself.
Yeah.
It's a beneficial thing on so many levels.
I 100% get so much from it.
You said you didn't want to give satisfaction to the people what were those people saying?
I mean, I got weirdly a lot of like people making fun of me for getting in shape. Like I remember there's a couple days online where I trended for it and it was like really horrible. And immediately I went back to the 13-year-old who couldn't go to the shop to buy stuff because people were suddenly making fun of the way I looked.
What was the story they were telling?
I don't know. I mean, just that, that I look bad, I look monstrous, like I look hideous, look what he did to himself. He used to look so good, now he did this.
That's not how I remember it.
No, there were a couple days, where really there were like genuinely tens of thousands. I had a picture during COVID that, for New Year's or Christmas, Emily and I took a picture of just like having a nice meal, and I posted it. And I don't know what, but people were just like, look at him, he looks like he's gonna explode. And it was just like a beautiful day. I was very happy to be with my wife, but that picture went around. And it really, really fucked me up. And I think that might be when I started seeing a therapist. It really fucked me up because I am a tremendously sensitive person. I really have always been, and I've known that about myself. My feelings get hurt constantly and deeply. It happens all the time. And so that, and going right to the thing that for so much of my life was my biggest fear, and I understand it's a shallow fear, but it isn't. It feels very deep. Like to me, there were points in my life where all I thought about was how ugly I thought I was. And so to like go back to that now in my 40s, like that stuff was still in there. So that was really, really, really hard. And you want to be like, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. You generate your own self-worth and all that. And it's really hard to do that. I mean, we're in a business where what other people think of us and our work is actually important and it has consequences. You make 5 movies in a row that get bad reviews and don't make money, it's hard to work again. Like there's like a tangible consequence for what other people think of you.
One of the things I find very fascinating about you and Emily is The Big Sick was like a voluntary exposure.
Yes.
Right. And it was wildly successful. But it kind of established these rules around you two that people are allowed to get in your business. Right?
That's so true.
Yeah. And so I'm...
And also not just that, not that they can just get in our business, but that they can be disappointed by stuff we do or don't.
Wow.
do.
Wow. Once you've gone through the experience of sharing your own story,
right?
Like moving beyond that, where's the line? When are you
tricky, right?
Yeah, like how do you decide what's private and what's something that's material for further exposure?
Emily and I talk about that a lot. There were certain things that happened in real life that Emily was much more thoughtful about it than I was. So if you notice, my name is my full name in that movie.
Right.
Emily's last name is different.
Oh, interesting.
So Emily had established certain like rules for herself where she was like...
Boundaries.
Yes, where I was like, oh, your dad does this thing and it's just a cute thing. Like it's like a phrase he uses and it doesn't reflect poorly on him at all. And I put it in the script and she's like, no, that's not for everybody. That's for me and you and for him. You can't put that in. I never thought about it like that because I genuinely had never considered that anyone would watch this thing. Genuinely. Oh, wow. And the reason, it was a voluntary sort of telling of very vulnerable personal stuff. Yeah. But for me, the only gauge I have is what do I need to talk about? What is the story I need to tell, that I need to get out? And that's what, the stand-up comes from too. And when we choose what we're going to write, it comes from that. The only gauge I have is what is the thing I need to say? And I don't know where that comes from. And I don't know what effect it will have on the world or on me. It's just like, this is the thing. And I feel like I really need to write about it. And that's what that was. I just felt like Emily took more convincing, Emily didn't want to write about it, but I was like, I feel like personally, I need to tell this story.
Are you ever having a really, intense and private emotional experience in your marriage where there's a part of you going, I can use this?
We certainly have used arguments and that kind of stuff in our stuff. Yeah, certainly, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to like set that line for yourself, but that is kind of where the real stuff is. Yeah, it really is.
When we talk about like what's working in your stand-up is you exposing your fears and your insecurities, and when it gets into other people's, your wife or your family, it gets complicated.
Well, that is complicated. Like my family stuff, I really feel like sometimes that's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
And same with, if it's something with Emily, I have to get her permission before we do it. But I do think that writing, doing this stuff, it has to come from real stuff. It has to come from inside you. It doesn't have to be so nakedly autobiographical. Put it in the guise of a horror movie or something.
Right.
Yes,
I think that's smarter.
Where did you learn to be a husband?
By being a husband. I mean, for me, the biggest, I would say, growth has been realizing just how important that is to me. I've always, since I started, doing stand-up comedy in my 20s, and there's patterns that sort of informed, like I know why I am the way I am, or was the way I was. For me, it was the work is the most important thing. Everything else is after that. And so Emily, when we started dating, comedy was so important to me. And she said, you also need to learn to get satisfaction from like other parts of your life, like being, cleaning your house or having a great day or being my boyfriend. Like you have to learn to get satisfaction from that. And it took me a long time to understand that and how important it is. And that I had this epiphany actually not that long ago, maybe like a couple weeks ago, where I was like, oh, my reason for being is to be with Emily. That's the purpose of my life. The purpose of my life is to show all of myself to her and see all of her and to grow together and to be with her. That is the purpose of my life. Everything else is secondary. Like what I get to do, acting, writing, stand-up, all that, I love it. It is not why I am on this earth. I realized that in some ways my desire to work or create and do stuff has been always about fear of mortality, fear of death, leaving something after me. But I didn't really actively, it's vague because it wasn't like one day I'm going to die, I want to leave something behind, so I want to work. It wasn't that. But I understood, some part of me understood the entire time that that's what it was. But it really wasn't until last year where my cat, who's 15, had like a heart thing. She still does. We took her to the vet and they were like, she has a couple months left. And that hit me so hard. And I just turned 45. And that, I think, was the first time I really actively considered, oh, I'm going to die someday. And I've always understood that intellectually, of course. But that was the first time where I really was like, oh, when people say that they're like, think about death and feel their own mortality, this is what that is. And it happened because, I was 44. Turning 40 was not bad for me. People are like, some people get scared. I was like, totally great. 40 was great. 45 was tough because, you think of like, if I'm 44, double that, most people live to their 80s. When I hit 45, I was like, most people don't live to their 90s. And so more than likely, I'm more than halfway through this whole thing.
Right.
And that really hit me, coupled with seeing like my gorgeous little cat having like, she had like shaved patches all over her because she had to do tests and she was fucking miserable, and just seeing her bald patches all over her, I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose you someday, and then someday I'm gonna also be gone. So really it was last year was the first time that this happened, and that it was not a good feeling. It kind of shook me, and it's really, I think, ultimately the thing that's led to the changes in the way I approach my work. When I said that I think my reason is to be with Emily, I think it sort of comes from that a little bit. Wow. Realizing like I have a certain amount of time left. What is that time? Why is that time? And I think that's what it is.
Have you ever imagined who and where you would be today if you'd never met Emily?
I would be back in Chicago, and I would have a day job, and I may be doing stand-up at night, maybe not. Like, I completely, fully understand that I would have zero success if it wasn't for Emily, and she agrees. She knows.
That's amazing.
Because it is undeniably true.
Yeah.
If you look at like what I was doing before her and what I was doing after her, I think it's like night and day.
Yeah.
And I genuinely know that I would not have any success if it wasn't for her. Because she pushes me. She also she genuinely really believes in me. She from the beginning was like, I knew you were gonna be successful. I was like, what are you talking about? Like when we met, I was doing stand up in the back of a diner. Like genuinely, she's like, yeah, but I knew. What? How? She only knew because she's the one who kind of genuinely made it happen. And I feel.
How did she make it happen?
I think having a person who you think of very highly believing in you has been for me at a couple key points in my life. It's been very formative.
What were those key points?
When I was in college, I was a philosophy major and a computer science major. And I truly had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I was completely lost. I was very shy. And my philosophy advisor, who just passed away this year, she was like the coolest, smartest. I was in love with her. She was beautiful. I just was like, this is maybe the best person in the world. I was just like completely like besotted with her. And she was like, you have to do comedy. You have to pursue stand-up comedy. And it made no sense to me because I was shy and they just, I was like a kid from Karachi, Pakistan. I had no understanding that I understood some people make a living at this. It just made no sense to me.
Sure.
Like I was like, when I watched people on TV, I was like, these are gods and demigods.
Yeah,
you know?
no point of entry for.
There's no point of entry.
Sure.
There's no way to like realistically approach it.
He-Man.
Sort of He-Man. Yeah, a bunch of He-Mans, And so she was just like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And she was like, you're not going to be happy unless you're doing this. And one time I remember I walked into her office on like I'd find excuses to just go talk to her. So I'd be like, I want to talk about this assignment. And she had an envelope, like a used envelope. On the back, she had written all these names. And she gave it to me and she was like, you're a computer science major. These are all people who work in like visual effects and stuff in Hollywood. You should contact these people. That'll be like, get your foot in the door that way. And I read these names and I didn't recognize any of them. And so I found out that the night before she had watched the Oscars and written down the names of all the people who've been nominated for a technical or special effects Oscar. And been like, here, call these people. And it just felt, and I didn't do that, but it just was like, I was like, oh, it's such a practical way to approach it. I was like, oh, there is a practical...
Right.
There is a practical way to approach this because it feels so big.
Right.
And that made me be like, oh, you could just take one tiny step, tiny step.
Wait, so are you saying that you didn't have designs on
Zero.
being an artist until her? She's
Zero.
the first person to suggest it?
Yeah.
You
zero.
hadn't been thinking about it?
No.
She said you have to do comedy?
Yeah.
Because you were funny?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was her. And then obviously I had friends and stuff. Who
Were
were
you
like
like class clown? Like
No.
Where
I was
did
very
she see it?
Just in our sessions together, I just would just go and try and make her laugh. Like I genuinely was like in love with her.
Right.
And I just wanted to like impress her. And I wanted her to think I was cool.
That's amazing.
And so I would just try and make her laugh, I'd never done any stand-up until then. And then the first time I was doing it, she was like, I want to come. I was like, please do not come. And just the fact that someone so smart thought I could do it made me think that maybe I could. So that was really, truly, and I never got to say it to her. I wish I had, and I know that she knew because her family says it, and I talk to people, and I wish I'd said to her, like, I get to live my dreams because of you. I never said that to her. And
I'm sure she knew that though.
Yeah, but the saying of
I
wish I'd said it. I wish I'd said it. She genuinely changed my life. And so her name is Johanna Meehan. She's a philosophy, she's very smart and very funny. And we went to her memorial and Emily came with me. And it was so interesting. You don't realize, but people are there talking about her work and how it's affected them. And Emily's like, oh, she's the one who made you. Because like the way I approach morality or what I think is important, all that stuff that I thought was so specifically unique to me, and I'd come up with like my own way of looking at society and culture. And then I see like 20 other people who have the exact same thing. I was like, oh my God, she had like a factory that created all of us.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it really was really beautiful to see how many people she like affected profoundly. I was like, I have such a special relationship with her, and I did, but so does a lot of other people. And it's
really
I
incredible.
don't know how she had time in the day for it, you know. I was shooting in Rhode Island when this was happening, and I had to work Monday, and usually I'd be like, oh, I can't go, but it's this new sort of approach of like prioritizing life over work.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I have to do this. I want to have this experience of being there. I want to have the memory of being there. And I want to honor her.
Well, if you could tell her, what would you say?
I would say, thank you for pushing me into doing this. I don't know what it was you saw in me that made you believe I could do it, but I certainly didn't, and I would not be doing this. I'm like truly living my dreams. I got to meet Mel Brooks, you know, day before yesterday.
Yeah.
And I remember as a little kid when my dad like showed me History of the World, and I was like, what is this? I didn't know you could do this kind of comedy. I never thought I'd meet the person that made that.
Yeah.
And I did because of her.
Thank you, Kumail.
Thanks, Mel. That was really.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. A quick selfie. There we go. Great. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course.
That was really, really fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
to see you too.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it so much. Thank
See you guys.
Thank you.
And the masters of the universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!"
Executive producers of Visitations are Elijah Wood and me, Daniel Noah. Our producers are Stephen Demler, Lawrence Ingley, Nick Parlin, and Mike Risley. The show is edited and mixed by Graham Resnick. Our music is by Bad Bad Not Good. Artwork by Jay Shaw and JJ Harrison. And our network director is Jim Perry. Visitations is a production of Spectre Vision Radio.